presenter, James Bond, is here. So I'm going to give him a little bit of an introduction, and then I will give him the time to talk with us a little bit more about something that's very relevant to students for sure. So he's going to be talking about learning patterns and reflection during the holidays. And just to give you a little bit more information about him, James Bond is the student advocate with Ashford University's Student Advocate Helpline, and he's also an adjunct faculty member with the College of Arts and Sciences. Over the past 15 years, he has used the knowledge he gained from his bachelor's degree in psychology and his master's degree in multicultural counseling to support students at Southwestern Community College, National University, Ashford University, and UC San Diego. James has been fortunate enough to open 3 centers serving military-affiliated students during that time as well. So, James, I will let you take the floor and talk with us more about learning patterns and reflection during the holidays.
So let me start with a little about myself. Yes, my name really is James Bond, and it's been a great icebreaker for me. I'm a junior. My dad growing up wasn't really associated with the character at all. He was like the 4th or 5th boy in the family. He was born in 41. The books were out, but not hugely popular. As I hold a BA in psychology from a non-traditional school. I earned that BA at 35 after serving 8 years in the Army. I have many wonderful experiences that my degree played a significant role in, and that's why I was so excited about this opportunity to join Laurissa in creating this presentation for you. So let me let Laurissa tell you a little about herself.
Oh, thank you, James. My name is Laurissa Armstead, and I work in the CHAMPS Peer Mentoring Department as the CHAMPS Program Coordinator. I'm fortunate enough to be able to mentor as well, so I mentor new students coming into Ashford. Currently, I have 5 mentees. I hold my Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. I'm a military spouse, so I understand those challenges that come along the way that military families face. I'm a licensed cosmetologist. I keep my license active just because I really like the benefits that I get from buying from the licensed stores. So I do still like my cosmetology license for that reason. I'm mental health first aid certified, and I will be the first one to sign up for Ashford's Master's in Counseling program. So hint, hint, that's what I'm going for, but I do have to wait till Ashford offers that. So thank you so much.
So let's start with why reflection and why planning. Now, as I mentioned, my degree played a huge role in some of my significant accomplishments. Probably career-wise, I would say the most notable was being sent on Veterans Day in 2011 to Washington, D.C. with 2 peers from other campuses. Oops, I touched something I shouldn't have touched, hold on. Yes, from 2 other campuses in the UC system. I would say personally, probably the most thing related to my degree would be the relationship I've built with my wife over 10 years. In January, it'll be 10 years. It was influenced both by my degree and reflection and planning. So to put it plainly, Laurissa and I chose this topic because we know the power of these practices and the power that they can have in contributing to your life in positive ways. I'd like to hear from you a little about what you think of as far as benefits that might come from reflection and planning. Just type a few in chat, any benefits you can think of. Time management, definitely, Jessica. Anything else? Planning board, yes. Planning, very true. That's really important in the holidays, Deborah. Success, yes, Jamie. And I'll hand over to Laurissa.
All right, thanks. So reflection methods and the 4-step reflection activity that we'll be covering today can be applied in many different ways. So these reflection activities can be catered to your different learning patterns. So whether you're a sequence person, as a use first, a technical, precision, or confluence, you may find that these learning patterns can actually help you in determining how you want to reflect. So depending on your learning patterns, you might choose a method of reflection that's different from myself or even James. As an example, I use precision as a use first learning pattern, and this can make me a bit of a perfectionist at times, but I would use, for instance, writing or drawing as a useful way to reflect. But here are a few examples of different methods that you might use. And share in the chat if you can think of other possible methods that relate to your learning patterns that are your use first or as needed. So here are the examples: writing, speaking, listening, reading, drawing, or acting. While you think about those methods and how you might use those methods to reflect, I want to talk to you about meaningful reflection and why it benefits me and how it may benefit you. So according to Marion McGregor in the Indiana Department of Education, reflection activities emphasize learning that comes from thinking about the activity that we've participated in. So literally, learning comes from thinking. And this makes me think of the quote from Socrates: "I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think." This has always resonated with me because I'm a thinker and a planner. So I kind of imagine that reflection is something like hitting the save button on all the new things that I've attained. I really enjoy retrospection. So it's kind of like my own personal time to gather thoughts around each and every event. And as a bonus, research has shown that reflection has positive impact on your attitude about the activity, event, or even circumstance. So James mentioned reflection benefits, and here are a few reflection benefits that I found personally. And the first one is better decision making. When things are well thought out, as a precision person, I find that reflection can help me sort out my thoughts on a topic, and I'm able to make a clear decision moving forward. And of course, the second is develop key learning opportunities. So drawing from past positive or negative experiences or situations can help you create future opportunities. And an example of this would be to determine when you have an opportunity to learn something from an experience or activity by using your reflection method. Reflection can provide clarity in goal progress. So using reflection to help determine things that may need to be limited or enhanced. I mean, what I mean by this is it's very valuable to set reminders to check in on your goals throughout the year and determine key things that may need to be eliminated or areas that you could focus more attention. So if you set a goal and you need to complete it within a year, it would be a great idea to set a reminder to check in on that goal after 3 months, and then again after 6 months, and maybe 9 months, and so on. So I'm going to go ahead. We can change the slide now to the next, please. Thank you. All right. So for this exercise, reflection is used to inventory our experiences, to consider what you've learned, and to design your next year. Also to set guideposts and benchmarks. All right, I'm going to turn it over to James.
All right, and those are great, Jamie. I was just about to type in the chat for you there, but those are really great reflection methods. Now, as a group, I'd like for us to think about how we relate to our patterns. So we're going to talk a little bit about the patterns. And I know a lot of you were probably introduced to this concept in the XP, and I really don't know how many other chances you get to kind of expand your knowledge. When we're looking in the classroom and doing assignments, it's essential that you use the word wall when decoding the assignments because of the particular set of criteria you're being judged on. Applying the right pattern to the right task really helps you meet deadlines and work as efficiently as possible. But I like activities like this. I would like to invite you to really follow your natural inclination. There are no judges of this other than yourself, and really just exploring and running with those use first patterns, I think is okay when you're developing your planning. So when we talk about reflection and planning, which of your patterns get excited? Like someone like me, I'm high in confluence. I get excited about creating new ways of doing things, really exploring different things as far as how I'm pulling in my information, how I'm setting my goals, just really adventurous and risk-taking. So I'd like to hear from some of you how you approach that. Ah, yes. And so I see a question about taking the patterns. Yes. If I can get an email or something, I can send it out. I'm not quite sure how best to do it. Maybe I could just put it in LinkedIn and the Psychology Club, but I'll work with Stephanie to make sure I can get that out to everyone. All right. So any ideas in chat? What pattern speaks to you? How you approach this type of thing? If not, we can move on. So step one of this process is really gathering data, looking at your previous year, trying to refresh your memory of things that occurred. Now, a lot of the processes I looked up suggested maybe looking over your calendar for the previous year, checking social media, maybe looking over at assessments you had at work or in school. For me, one thing that I credit my confluence in coming up with was really looking at my outbox in email, because I work with a lot of nonprofits. I do a lot of things, but it's generally tied to my emails. And so when I went to that sent folder and just started January 1 and kind of worked down, there were so many things that I forgot about, so many emails I had sent to mentors or people I was working with, students. Just it was a great way for me to kind of look back over that year and pull out some key things, which is the next step. So once we have that list, then the task is really pulling out the key events. And you need to really make sure that you're not just looking at your accomplishments and feel-good stuff. While that's very important, and yes, we have to recognize what we're doing well and give ourselves credit, there's a lot that we can learn from our challenges. There's a lot of things that they can tell us about how much energy we're expending in certain ways, or maybe there are some skills we need to learn or techniques. So I like to emphasize that, yes, we're going to look at our accomplishments. We're going to give ourselves credit for the things that we have done well, and especially the things that we have checked off that are keeping us on the path or the goals that we've set for ourselves. But also examining those challenges to look at maybe there's some skills we need to develop. Maybe there are some things in our environment that aren't really contributing to us and causing us issues. So being able to be honest with ourselves and really list that is going to be extremely helpful. So let's go to Laurissa for the next step.
All right. So the next step is to write a true story of the perfect year to come. So the perfect year to come, as you plan your perfect year to come after gathering your data and reflecting, you can complete these after completing your first few steps, but remember to be realistic in your expectations for the perfect year to come. Students face many challenges along the way, and we can come across setbacks from time to time. Just remember that those setbacks happen, and the best thing to do is to include them in your perfect plan. Know that things will happen and you will be challenged, so be adaptable to different situations. You can have a plan in place for different scenarios and how you will continue your trajectory without interruption. I understand, because I came across a number of challenges along the way, from moving to illness and solo parenting, just to name a few. So I know that those challenges pave our future and how we handle them without losing sight of our goals along the way. Our experiences just wouldn't be the same without these obstacles and successes, so build them into your plan. This might require the help of SMART goal setting, which we'll discuss next. So be realistic about your perfect year to come and try your best to include not only your accomplishments, but a holistic picture of the perfect year. So we can go ahead and switch to SMART goal setting. All right, so let's talk about SMART goals. I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with SMART goals, but I'll give you a quick overview of what a SMART goal is and how it can help you. So the S in SMART stands for simple and specific. What this means is that when you're setting your goal, you want to keep it simple and to the point. The who, the what, and the why. So who's going to be there, and what is it that I want to accomplish and why? The M in SMART is measurable. So in order to obtain my goal, what do I need? Let's say you want a promotion at work. What do you need to achieve this type of promotion? Do you need more experience? How can you get that experience? And that leads to the A in SMART, which stands for attainable or achievable. This begs the question, is this realistic? Am I biting off more than I can chew, or is this really something that I can achieve? The R stands for relevant. You have to ask yourself, is it worthwhile? Is this something I need to do now, or is this something that can wait and I should focus my attention on something more relevant? And then, of course, lastly, the T stands for time-based. Is 1 year going to really be enough time to achieve the goal, or it could be too much time? So assess how much time you'll need to achieve the goal and be realistic. So now we move to the next slide, and I'll share with you my 2020 SMART goal. So in the chat, share with us SMART goals that you have, and you can think about your learning patterns and how you can reflect and plan for the perfect year to come. You don't have to go over each step now, but you can share with us something that you want to achieve in 2020. Will I share with you my SMART goal? So we'll start with the S, the specific, which is I want to write 50,000 words towards a book venture that I've been putting off for years. It's a personal memoir about my journey growing up in rural Alaska and the many adventures that I experienced. So the M, we have to go right into that. What do I need? So what do I need to complete this? I need a laptop, a quiet space, and a lot of coffee, I'm pretty sure. So it's simple and should be doable. Is it attainable? Is this realistic? So I believe that this is an attainable goal because I'm not pressing myself to complete a large number of words in a short amount of time. And that brings me to an example like NaNoWriMo is a challenge where you write 50,000 words in 30 days. For me, this was just too short of an amount of time. I have a naturally busy lifestyle, so it wasn't doable for me. But I believe that if I break it down, I'll be able to complete it over a year. Is it worthwhile? So I believe it's worthwhile because my parents are getting older and I want to share part of their story as well. And it's an interest that I've had for many years. I just haven't had the time to dedicate to it. And it's a venture because other goals have taken front seat. Of course, other goals have always taken front seat to that. So I think this is a good time for me to start it. And is 1 year enough time? So you have to really break it down. 1 year should allow ample amount of time to complete this goal. So I went as far as to break it down to how many words I would need to type. For 1 month, it would be 4,166 words. Further broken down, 1,041 per week. And then, of course, even further, 148 words per day. So as students, and we had to write discussions more than that just for discussion responses typically, I think I can do it. So I really hope this helps you to determine what might be a SMART goal while using your learning patterns and reflection for the perfect year to come.